Welcome to Kickin' It. We are being recorded from behind the bench by Kelderman Manufacturing, who will likely pass this off to Oklahoma State later. So hopefully everything's going to be good for the rest of the show. Grant Mahoney, welcome. I think Kelderman's probably would do a better job of cheating, even if that seems like a knock, but just anything they do, they're going to do well. They're not going to cheat, but if they did something, if they're going to make something, they're going to do it well. So if they're going to make a tape for Iowa State to steal, it's probably gonna be a pretty high quality tape.
Yeah, and I would imagine if they were a low quality person and to the point where they would come after someone's integrity, they'd probably do it at a better job than Jerome Tang did. And at least make it like somewhat believable.
Or plausible, yeah. So, I mean, they probably they're not gonna do things that are shady, but if they were gonna, they'd just probably do a better job at it.
And they probably confess to it and apologize after the fact.
Yeah, if they did, because they're stand-up guys. So we're in the Wild Rose Casino studios, and that was the weirdest intro that we could have done. But last week was the weirdest week that Iowa State's had in a while. We're gonna get to the Kansas State stuff because we spend a good amount of time talking with is legend too soon? I mean, you can't be a legend within like 5 days. But ascending star.
But his family is pretty legendary.
That's true.
His family is legendary, and he has gone like into Cyclone
lore. He's
quickly.
Yeah, Cyclone lore like really fast.
I mean, when you talk about Kansas State crybaby or Jim Carrey crybaby, GIF guy fan, whatever you want to say, people know who you're talking about.
Yeah, right away. So we're gonna be joined by the Cyclone Jim Carrey.
Not even just Iowa State. You can ask Barstool Sports. You can probably ask SportsCenter. I'm sure you ask Shaquille O'Neal if I had his number. Say, hey, do you know who? Did you see this? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean, because just so well done. So we talked with Cyclone Jim Carrey, Jon Swanson.
Yeah,
for a good amount of time. So that's kind of the back half of the episode. So we're gonna get into a lot of the Kansas State stuff. So we're not gonna really talk about it at the top of the show. The thing that I wanted to get in is, I mean, it is too bad that Brock Purdy's just a game manager. I mean, he could be so good if he just, I mean, made plays with his feet or extended plays a little bit. Or, I mean, if he was able to pass or come back from behind and beat good teams. I mean, win big games. I don't know. Maybe he's a game manager. He's not good enough.
Jeepers. He just sits back in the pocket like a statue and just dumps off the ball to the Avengers. It's basically Captain America at every position. Yeah, I think he's just a fill-in for their franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if he was a little better, the 49ers, they might win a game.
If he was a little bit taller. I don't know the rest of the words.
I don't remember the rest of who's there? I'm in brain fart on the actual artist, and I played myself on trivia, so I apologize to the listeners for not having that. That's gonna pop into my head at like 3:00 in the morning of who actually sings that.
Pop out of bed.
Grant. So this weekend, the games, neither one of the teams that I wanted to win with my soul won.
NFL, you're talking
NFL wise, because I mean, but the NFC, we talked about it in last week's show. Like, whoever won, I was cool with it because San Francisco wins, Brock gets in the NFC or in the Super Bowl, and no downside there. But like the Lions, I'm just like a habitual underdog. Like I can't.
Cool story.
I can't not root for an underdog pretty much no matter what. And then the Ravens Chiefs game, like I will say it though, the Chiefs were kind of fun to watch this weekend. Especially their offense.
I didn't get to watch any of that game.
Especially their offense.
We were out doing chores.
The defense was still whatever, but the offense was, I mean, it's fun to watch. Like when Kelsey and Mahomes are on like that, it's like poetry. It is so well done. But it's annoying. So like, again, as an underdog fan, the Chiefs have been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. The 49ers have been to 4 of the last 5 NFC championships and 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls. They've had their seat at the table. It's time to, they've been at the water fountain for like a minute and a half now. And everybody else at the water fountain is just like, hey, can you guys move a little? Can you guys move a little bit? And they won't. And I just want somebody else to get a drink at the water fountain, but I'm happy that Brock made it.
Do you know what the 2 biggest storylines of the Super Bowl are going to be?
Taylor Swift and Brock Purdy.
Yes. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
God.
That is my dream.
That's awesome.
It's Aiden, noted Swiftie, who will wear tour sweatshats and t-shirts.
I am actually wearing my Taylor Swift Eras Tour shirt right now.
Underwear.
Didn't even think about that, but
that's wow. That is
I bet
Aiden's
Steph Copley is probably gonna be torn.
I mean, yeah. Do you root for Brock? Well, that's true. I mean, not even just Steph, but like all Chiefs fans who are also Iowa State fans.
Yeah.
This sort of feels like it's the same like win-win. You know, like as if Brock does well and they win and the 49ers win, then Brock gets a Super Bowl ring, and that's freaking cool. And if
That's a national championship, by the way.
what if Iowa State or if I mean Iowa State wins the Super Bowl,
Yes.
Brock?
Yep.
Okay.
It's fun. Can claim it.
That's a 10-win season too. So there you
That's
go.
count. Well, that's next year. Grant's already called that.
I did. Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's this game. The fact that Taylor Swift and Brock Purdy are going to be the two lead stories. What wild world are we just spinning our way into?
So Taylor Swift she's been obviously a story for the Chiefs.
25 years?
Well, I mean, like for the Chiefs this whole season, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be even more of an emphasis because her last show on her Eras tour is in Tokyo the night before, but there's such like an hour change, like a time change, whatever.
She can get back.
I'm gonna call it now. There's going to be a Taylor Swift
Flight tracker.
like flight tracker, like a watch, like, ooh, like at what point is she going to arrive to the game? She may get there before the game starts, but I think it might be close.
That's a lot of Aiden, I'm going to need you to get on that. Just make sure that you got the Taylor Swift watch.
Yeah. So I feel like me and Grant definitely saw the same tweet about like
I saw
the
it on
flights and
Instagram.
stuff. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
same thing where it was like all the flights and stuff that she has to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that they also changed? So flights from Kansas City to Las Vegas, the flight there is 1989, like the flight number.
Oh my God.
The flight back is 87.
Oh my God. Oh
crazy.
my God.
Did they change those? Or that's just
Or is that just-
There's no way that's a coincidence.
There's
Like,
no way. Of all the numbers that those flights could be, there's no way that that's not.
yeah, they definitely did that on purpose. You'd
Yeah.
think.
Regarding Taylor Swift, can I get like a little just monkey off my chest? I don't know what the expression is.
monkey off your back. Yeah.
Depends.
Get it off your chest, monkey off your back.
Got it. Get it off my chest.
Get the monkey off your chest.
Get
Jeff.
the monkey off my chest. I'm just hugging the monkey. When people gripe about Swift being on TV too much, I think that's one of those instances, you know. So like my wife and I bought a car last August for her to better kind of handle a car seat. So we wanted one. We got a Hyundai Palisade. It's a nice vehicle, great car. Would get one if would recommend. And
Unsponsored ad.
unsponsored ad. But buy it used from Carl Chevrolet. But
Sponsored ad.
when we're shopping and you're looking and you're like, all right, we know that we're gonna get a Palisade, and then you start looking for whatever. You see just 1,000 Palisades everywhere. It's just the car that you're looking to buy. You just see it everywhere. So it's that bias of things that you're looking for. They just show up because you're focusing on it. Taylor Swift, I don't know the exact number. I think prior to like the post-game celebration, I think she was on TV 6 times in the entire 3.5 hour time window that they had, 3.5 hour time window. But it seems like she was on the screen for like 5 hours if you're looking for it. So really the way that they do that is it's not taking away from the game. It's just like an establishing shot. So like there's they're coming back from commercial, or someone catches a touchdown pass, Travis Kelsey catches a touchdown pass, rather than cutting away to a fan or cutting away to a cheerleader or cutting away to like Clark Hunt, who's like clapping in the owner's box. They just cut to Taylor Swift. It's just it's the same. It wouldn't have been game footage in the moments that they show her. It would have cut to somebody else in the stands or on the sideline. They just put Taylor Swift there because she's one of the 2 to 3 biggest stars on the planet now.
She is our generation's Marilyn Monroe.
Or Elvis Presley. Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
such a huge star.
She's a generational.
that like
I mean,
you go, I wonder what she's doing. And like but if you go through and look at the amount of times and the actual total time that she's on screen, very, very little. So if you are complaining about how much she's on, it's just because you're looking for a Hyundai Palisade, and now every Palisade on the street shows up in your face. So like it's not, objectively, it's not a lot. And also you're bringing in so many like random viewers that like, I don't know, my sister-in-law doesn't really care about the Chiefs, but it's like this whole love story thing is kind of fun. So she'll tune into the game because of that. And so you're bringing an extra audience to that because of that. So like the Swiftie hate as far as being on there, I don't get it. Like
I don't either.
I don't get it.
One thing too, I've seen people
Preach, Aiden.
Yeah, all right.
Preach.
So
Aiden's gripes.
Aiden's right.
yes, I've seen people tweet
Aiden's assholes.
whoa. Like, could you imagine if they showed Travis Kelsey highlights at a Taylor Swift concert? Like, that would be pretty sick.
I'm
Not
pretty
gonna
sure,
lie. And they would love it.
if he was there, they 100%
Yeah.
would. They would
go
100% cut to him singing "It's a Love Story." it there. Like if he
Right.
was singing that and they cut to that on camera, people would lose it. The whole stadium would lose it if he's singing a song and they show him out there.
For me, it's like people are thinking, Taylor Swift, there's no place for her. It shouldn't belong in football. We want, we want to watch football to get away from that stuff. But it's like Taylor Swift, and like she's a human too, and she can be a quote unquote normal person too, just cheering on football. She just happens to be
The most famous person.
who happens to be dating a guy who's in the Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
I don't like the hate that she gets, because it's encouraging little girls to look up to her, to watch football, to open their horizons a little bit. And I don't get the hate either. I feel like it's nothing but good for the NFL that
And I will say
the two worlds have
I will say
collided.
the first, I can kind of understand like the first time that they were like, is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey, are they dating? Are they dating? Is she going to be there? And then they like showed her like 45 times. Like that was the first game, but also there's no precedent. Like never prior to this. So like Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe they were married for a while. Like they were together. If that happened today, would have been the exact same thing. Every time they left the game, then there was a story in the next day's newspaper of Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe walking out of the stadium with a headline, Joe and Marilyn head off to town. Like it's that, no matter what. It's just today's version of that.
Well, and this may be an unfair comparison because she's not the president, but if Joe Biden were at multiple Chiefs games, he would be shown on TV all the time too, because it's a
super famous person. You know what's
super famous
crazy?
person.
You know what's crazy is that we're comparing Taylor Swift's level of famousness to the president of the United
I just
States.
said I didn't
No,
want to.
you said it. It's true. Like if less derisive,
but they're known worldwide.
yeah, less derisive. I would imagine less people hate Taylor Swift than hate any president over the last 25 years.
I'm going to make the argument more people know who Taylor Swift is than Joe Biden.
That's probably true.
Across the world.
That's probably true.
Can I if we're done with Taylor Swift, can I give a grand scribe for a second?
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey doing what they did to Justin Tucker pregame. You see that?
Okay, please explain that situation, because I wasn't necessarily like, I was watching that one. I try and watch most things, even like I get annoyed with the Chiefs defense personality. The offense is generally pretty fun, but like try and watch things like an alien from space. And there's usually two sides to most things. Describe the situation, and I would like to know your side of it.
So, and I'm gonna give both sides of it actually. So, in pregame, the quarterback the quarterback the quarterback goes and gets warmed up, throws, gets his arms. You saw Dak with his hip twist. That's his warm up. Whatever. Mahomes is doing whatever he needed to do. Kelsey's doing whatever he needs to do, and Justin Tucker had his helmet on the goal line with two balls next to it, and he had his sticks. So the holder that holds the ball. We call them sticks as kickers. And he was stretching, and Kelsey came up and he tossed him, which I understand. Mahomes was close to stepping on those. If he stepped and rolled his ankle, be a bad deal. And Tucker did kind of have his stuff on the goal line, and he was probably 2 yards, away from it.
But isn't this in Kansas City territory? You've on warm-ups.
It's an open field. It's an open field.
So in warm-ups, generally speaking, so just to clarify more of like the nuance of this, generally speaking, in warm-ups, at a certain point, there's the 50-yard line, and then there's, as one team warms up, they have the side on the east side of the stadium from 50 or 49.9 yard line all the way through the back of the end zone. And on the other side, 49.9 yard line all the way to the back of the end zone is the opposing team. But kickers, even during those times, a kickoff is kicked from the minus 35 and usually goes through the end zone. So if you start kicking from the 50, like your side of the field, you'd be kicking it like 15 rows deep into the stands every single time you went to kick it. So there is some, even during those times, there's some transfer where the kickers do go into the opposing territory to kick out of it to their own team.
Yes and no. So yes, there is, but at a certain time, so far in advance of the game, the field's wide open. So there are no the Chiefs half, the Ravens half. So
I would imagine that's usually when you have these dust up scuffles of, man, you a bitch ass bitch. Nah, you a bitch.
So
bitch.
I had
there's
that.
the little scuffles.
I had that happen to me in Colorado. We played there I think sophomore year. Whoever the quarterback was came out and basically did the same thing, tell me to get out of here. I was like, no, like I'm not moving. I've already warmed up down here. I need to warm up on this end to see where the wind's going. And at this point in pregame, I knew I had like 10 minutes before like Colorado's half took over. I was like, no, like I still have time to be here. Like I'm not gonna let you bully me around. And I got in his face, and then whoever the coach at the time was like, Grant, let's move on. I was like, no, I'm not gonna let a guy just tell me to get out of here. And I need to get warmed up too.
No, I'm gonna shove him in a locker.
That's right. And then say what's up to his mom. But
are we girlfriend? No. We already just skipped past the girlfriend.
He was dating an ugly girl, so I
got
say what's up to his mom. He was a handsome fella. So Tucker though, Tucker was getting warmed up just stretching, and Kelsey had taken his 2 footballs and like tossed his sticks, and then tossed his helmet. Which the balls are and the helmet's fine. You don't touch another kicker's sticks though. You don't do that. So he did that. Whatever. Tucker came back.
Did you touch my drum set?
Same thing. Yeah. I know you touched my drum set.
Did you touch my drum set?
I saw it, Chip. But then Tucker came back, got his stuff, had it set up so he had the ball, so he had the sticks holding the ball, and he was taking the steps back, walking backwards, and then Mahomes after he threw it, kicked the sticks. And then Tucker was like, okay, man. And I saw Tucker mouth to Mahomes, it's over for you, bro. And Tucker was interviewed after the game, like, oh, did you say anything? Tucker's like, no, I didn't say anything. Like, I'm not a very good lip reader, but I can read when someone says, it's over for you, bro. And then Mahomes, I'm assuming, he's like kind of shrugging. I'm sure he was like, we'll see. But for me,
so Tucker poked the bear.
He did, and I think he knew what he was doing because I'm sure he was lined up in the middle of the upright, which is what you want to do. You know, as a kicker, you probably start with no steps and 1 steps. So no steps is you just have your plant foot next to the ball
And swing your foot around.
and try to, you're trying to make good contact and get the ball up and over the upright. Usually you do that from, the middle of the end zone to really get the ball up. So Tucker was at the goal line, which I think he knew what he was doing. He was
agitating.
Yes, he was infringing on. He could have been on that side of the field and been in their general vicinity, and not been within a yard of where Mahomes was snapping the ball, metaphorically snapping the ball from and dropping back. I think he could have taken 2 steps to the left, 2 steps, whatever, and moved. I saw on the Pat McAfee show, he was saying that when this happened to Vinatieri and they basically like, hey, like wherever he wants to go, like let us know, we'll move. And Tucker is very much like, I'm here, I'm not moving. So I think he kind of knew what he was getting into. However, I will say Mahomes and Kelsey did not handle it the right way.
Well, neither one handled it that right way.
They did not.
So, I mean, you instigate and then you get pushed back because the instigator.
Like there's two stubborn guys. Just Mahomes is like, we're here, move your shit out of my way. And Tucker's like, it's open field, man. I'm here. And neither one of them was like, hey, man, let's be civil about this.
Let's find some middle ground.
They're all Pro Bowlers. They're all 3 of those guys are the best.
They're Hall of Famers.
Yeah, all 3 of them are potentially the best at their position, respectively. But they could have had a conversation and they didn't. So I guess what I'm trying to say, don't touch a kicker's sticks, but also have a conversation. Grant Scripes.
Grant Scripes.
Don't
touch the sticks.
Don't touch the sticks.
You know what? Actually, at kicking camps, the big thing was to steal.
At band camp?
No, kicking camp.
Oh.
Was to steal sticks because a lot of times, because they're the 3 things, the 3 prongs, and then when they're just leaning when there's no ball, a lot of times people will accidentally step on this
and it dents it.
So now you got like a wonky one. It's like, dude, primo, you go and find like a brand new sticks that they're all red and white, no chip, and just like switch out.
Mine now.
And then write your name on them.
Well, dibs.
Yeah.
Dibs. I dibs it.
Never did that though.
Can't triple stand, but double stand. No, yeah, you can't see a wink on a podcast, Grant. I think the only other thing we can get before I want to talk about Kansas, was Lions game.
Great game.
Such a great game. I feel so bad for Detroit because again, my heart roots for pretty much any underdog. And I also like there is from the very little discussion that I've seen, because again, I don't usually get on the interwebs. There's some hate for Campbell for going for it in a couple situations. And the 2 I think that you get the most beef with, one I can justify and the other one I can't. So one I think was a reasonable, if not risky gamble, and the other one was a mistake. And so the 2 situations were, one is they have the ball. I don't know the exact time on the clock, but I think it was like 4 minutes and some change. And they go for it on 4th down 3 in easy field goal range. Guaranteed. It's almost layup because is it Fox? It's the kicker.
No, Bagley.
But
Riley Patterson was their kicker when Bagley went out there. When did Bagley get on this team?
So anyway, like that from back, I mean, it's a layup. It's like the 27, 30 yard line, something like that. That's a layup in that situation. Even with all the pressure, you got it. But he went for it on 4th and 3 and play got blown up, incompletion, wasn't really all that close. Then the 49ers, the Lions were down 3, 49ers drive down to score, and then the Lions get the ball back. So it might have been 6 minutes left. But anyway, Lions get the ball back, and then they have to go 2 scores. So that situation of it's 4th down in field goal range, everyone's saying you need to take the points. I can understand, and here's the argument, the reason why he rolled the dice on that one, which is if you So one, he's been going for it on fourth down all year. Like that's not anything new. Two is if you convert that, you're not saying we need 7 instead of we need 3. But if you get a new set of downs, you start putting the 49ers in the territory where one of two things happens. Either one, they don't use their timeouts, and you then take it from, say, 6 minutes or whatever the time was on the clock, and you subtract then basically every set of downs is about 2 minutes. So you then subtract 2 minutes off the clock and then kick a field goal. And then it shortens the game for the amount of time the 49ers have to actually go do something with it. And you still have all your timeouts.
Yep.
So even if they go score a touchdown, you would have the capacity to come down. So if you convert it, you burn time, you reduce their possessions. Best case scenario, you get in the end zone. There is a risk for not getting it, which is what happened. But I can understand that one because you're trying to burn both time and points in that situation. If you have a great play, run it. The other one that is a mistake was when they're on the goal line. It's first and goal, they throw a pass, incomplete. Second and goal, they throw a pass, incomplete. Third down, they've got 2 timeouts left, or excuse me, they got all 3 timeouts left. They're down 2 scores. You must score twice. It doesn't matter what order those scores come in, whether that's field goal, touchdown, touchdown, field goal, or touchdown, touchdown. It doesn't matter. You have to get at least one touchdown, but some other mechanism of scoring. So what they did is they ran the ball on third down, thinking that David Montgomery was just going to be able to get in. But the play that they ran involved Josh Reynolds blocking Nick Bosa at the point of attack. You either have your best play or you don't run the ball. So you bring in 7 offensive linemen and have Penei Sewell run right in front of David Montgomery and 12,000 pounds of squatting run right up the middle, and maybe you get it. But in that situation, time is more important than points. It doesn't matter how many points you get on that drive. Time matters more. You have to save that timeout, because when they use that timeout, the game was over.
Yep.
The odds of getting an onside kick, because they've removed the amount of times that you just light somebody up on an onside kick, those are now unsportsmanlike. So the rate of getting an onside kick recovery has gone down substantially since they've instituted, like, it's sort of, I don't know what the call for it is, like just an unnecessary roughness call, where what they would used to do is, and you were really good at this in practice, is you kick like the top 10% of the ball.
And in games.
And yeah,
we were perfect, except for A&M. I'll bet you about it. It hit Jaworski Lane's face mask, and they got it. They didn't call illegal touch. It hit his face mask. We recovered it within 10 yards. And they said, "Oh, penalty." I said, "No, touch his face mask." They didn't call it. Continue.
Anyway, Grant Scribes. Grant's 12 years Gripes.
Grant Scribes.
Grant Scribes.
They never expire.
Never expire. Grant Scribes never expire.
Still bitter about it.
Always good. But anyway, like back in the olden days, you'd kick it and you try and get it go hop, hop, and that second hop is a big pop up in the air.
Mine would always, I would just hammer it into the ground. First hop, boom, one big bounce. But now in college, if you do that, they can call a fair catch. And I want to ask you, and that's what they did in this game. They did just one hop, just big bounce. I don't know why you can't call a fair catch in the NFL.
I think that you probably could, but I don't know if that rule is in place, and that you don't want to leave it to the officials and unprotect yourself.
Yeah.
So like you would have to call fair catch and then immediately get back down into defensible position. But I think there's an automatic. You have to have a balanced formation, so it has to be 5-5 on kickoffs, and instead of 6-4, like 7-3, like it used to be. And you can't just like light somebody up. And because there's another thing is you have to be within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage at the point of the kick. And at any point. So you can't like take a huge run up. Because like when we would recover onside kicks, I was on the field there, and I was a frontline guy. And then people behind me like Darius Reynolds are going to run in and try and jump. And my entire goal on kickoff or on an onside kick was I'm going to run as fast as I can and put my shoulder, which usually was my left shoulder, because you're kicking from as we're looking at it, your left to right. I'm going to put my left shoulder through the guy in front of me's numbers and try and break his ribs. That's my whole goal. As soon as the ball's in the air, I'm not trying to recover it at all. And then Darius Reynolds is going to come behind me. He's going to try and jump and get it. We can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So you have to be at the line of scrimmage. You can't hit him before the ball's actually touched. So the odds of getting an onside kick are so infinitesimally small. When you burn that timeout on that third down, game is over.
You said so what small?
What?
Infinitesimally
small.
I never heard that word before.
I got a question quick.
Yeah.
Were you on the field for the Jeremy Reeves
Yes.
return against Tech?
That was awesome.
I got plowed
awesome.
over on that one. Absolutely demolished on that. I actually got yelled at in film because I didn't like aggressively attack the guy. I went and kind of like took half a step and didn't get as much juice into it as I needed to and got trucked. But the guy fell over because he trucked me, and so it was a good block.
So when did you know that, like, it was gone.
Crowd noise.
Crowd noise?
100% crowd noise. Yeah. Yeah, I got screwed up. I mean, I was on the front line guy on that one. I got blasted.
Jeff was dead and he woke up with birds spinning around his head. Oh, what's going on?
And all of a sudden,
Oh, a touchdown.
yeah. And you're like, oh shit, good job, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy. He's so fast. So fast.
I thought both games were great though, and so happy for Brock. He gets so much hate, and for what? The kid he's done nothing but win, and like he is one of the least paid guys on like their starting lineup.
Can I say we'll do a Super Bowl preview next week because we have that capacity to do so, and I only one Iowa State game to get to. One of the things that is so Kansas City's played really, really well. And Kansas City's defense has not allowed more than 27 points in any game this entire year. Steve Spagnuolo is really good. He's really good at disguising what he's doing, and he brings a ton of pressure. I don't think that we don't need to necessarily look up this statistic, like the exact numbers, because it's pretty unequivocally true. Best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz, Brock Purdy. So Kansas City builds their defense off of bringing a whole bunch of pressure and trying to confuse where the pressure is coming from. Whether it's Shanahan in Brock's ear or just Brock being able to decipher it, he's really good at getting the ball to who he needs to when he needs to get there. The teams that have succeeded at getting him off his spot, it's really the Browns and the Ravens are the only two that have really done it. And the Packers kind of, but it was more just shitty conditions and just, you know, whatever. But those two teams they have Myles Garrett, and then they have, the Ravens have Matabike and Jadeveon Clowney and, Owe, and like they can get pressure without blitzing a ton. So you can get pressure with 4, you force them to throw. Well, that's not Kansas City's game. Like Chris Jones can rush the passer, and Amenahu kind of, and Karlaftis kind of, but they tend to bring a lot more pressure. Brock is really good against pressure. So that system quarterback where he's just getting the ball dink and dunk, that offense is really good against this defense. So like if Brock can navigate where that ball is going, it might be a game where Brock has like 275 yards, but he doesn't really throw it down the field all that much if Kansas City's defense is going to present the way that they might. So it's on one side, it's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey, arguably the best passer receiver combination that the NFL has ever seen. Yeah. And on the other side, you have a guy an offensive system who is built to attack weaknesses when you present them, and blitzes are weaknesses in the back half. So like this game, I don't think this is going to be as much of a defensive slugfest as people are going to give it credit for because of the way that San Francisco is set up to play. So I don't know. This is a really fun matchup to me.
I love seeing Brock just do what he was doing really his freshman year at Iowa State and just backyard football. When a play breaks down, he's just taking off his legs, and like he took off one where he was kind of snaked around. I think it was later in the game. And I kept saying, "Get down, Brock! Go, get down, go, get down!" And like, because if he gets hit, if he gets hit and hurt, like Sam Darnold, like they're done. Like Sam Darnold's not going to do anything. But
no, it's a system. The system is what's successful. Grant, Brock is trash. Get that through your head.
Yes, he meant to throw it to the defender, bounce off his face mask, and Ayuk had it. Although I will say that would have been a pass interference had he not caught that, and that is why Ayuk didn't catch it, and that's why I bounced off his face mask because the guy impeded.
And actually, there was a flag thrown.
Yeah, but then then they waved it off because
it didn't need it.
Yeah.
So it still would have been it wouldn't have been a touchdown, but it would have been. Well, it wasn't even a touchdown anyway. Chris McCaffrey ran it in.
Yeah.
One play later.
I will say just one last thing in regards to basketball. Man, I thought Kansas was going to. Iowa State was up 9, and I was still like I was uneasy because Kansas it was beautiful. They kept driving in, getting fouled, and then shooting free throws. And when a team it can shoot free throws and score points without taking time off the clock, that's when Iowa State might be in trouble because we've seen it so often this year that Iowa State has gone on lulls where 2, 3, 4 minutes where they haven't scored, and then a lot of teams get back into it. Although I think the team is kind of turning that page, and I'm really proud of the transfers for, I've said that they've been tied butthole for a while, and they've just need to loosen up a little bit. They're loose now. Jiggy's out there.
Loose buttholes.
Yeah,
now.
That's not a good thing.
Loose buttholes.
Jiggy's out here balling. Keyshawn's out here balling.
Trey King's
not
transfer. I mean, at one point transfer.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good to see the guys that playing loose and just having fun and really just playing good ball. But I am worried. Iowa State went 9 of 18 from free throws.
That's got to get better. But also, I think it's who's shooting them. Like Taman went I think maybe 50% from it, which
Yeah,
Taman's
he's got to get better.
got to
too.
get better. And then Rob Jones shot a lot too.
Yeah.
So like two of your lesser free throw shooters are shooting. If it was like Kurt Jones and Milan, they're gonna make most of them. But or even Keyshawn, like you're probably gonna make most of them if that's the case. But
Yeah.
I think the thing that's most impressive about this last couple weeks, or really, last 3 games with TCU, Kansas State, and Kansas, is the fact that Iowa State won, and really this is while we're correlating like the 49ers and Iowa State, is early in the season, the 49ers and Iowa State separately in different sports, if they could establish the tempo of the game, they would win the game. If they couldn't establish the tempo of the game and they had to play at somebody else's tempo, then they weren't able to do it.
Yep.
Well, the last 2 weeks, Green Bay Packers set the tempo of that game. San Francisco managed to come back to win. The Lions set the tempo of that game. San Francisco said, all right, we're playing this tempo. And they switched it up. Same thing that's happened with Iowa State is that they have matched whatever tempo is necessary to win. Against Houston, it's a freaking just knees to the nuts just again and again and again. And they won that slugfest of a game. And then you get in this boat race with Kansas where it's just clicking offensive efficiency on both sides of the ball. And you're able to win that too. So I think the defensive presence that this team has, but also the fact that there isn't, like, if I would say best scorer on the team, who is it?
They're very versatile. I would have said Milan, but then Kansas had a really great game plan to stop him, and then
Trey King goes nuts.
Trey King goes nuts. But Keyshawn's been our most efficient guy over the last
Kurt Jones
4 games.
Kurt Jones had 30 in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, Taman can still score from wherever he's going to do it. Hassan is going to be a big putback guy. There's no one, like the Bill Belichick defensive system is always, I'm going to take away your first 2 things that you like to do and you have to do your third. Okay, take away the first 2 things that Iowa State wants to do. Their third, fourth, and fifth aren't that much different than their first and second. So while they don't have fill in the blank, like from last year or the year before, like Paolo Banchero, like you don't have that guy, but you also don't have, you don't have no one that's really an offensive liability that's going to be out on the floor. So you can play any game that you need to win, make a zillion threes, make 3 threes, and get into a rock fight. Doesn't really matter. That's the thing that's been the most impressive about this team. And honestly, that's like the women, that they sort of can do that, but they're just too young to figure out like exactly down in crunch time to be able to do it. But give them like another 20 games total, they're going to be doing the exact same thing, if not sooner, of being able to say, all right, they're not letting Addie Brown get to whatever, like that kind of elbow jumper. They're not letting whoever, shoot Bellinger shoot threes. They're running her off the line. Okay, well, we find another way to get it done. So I don't know. It feels like that's the thing that is kind of consistent with both teams. Just Iowa State's women's team is younger than the men's team, but they can play any game. Roll the ball on the floor, we'll go play.
Yeah, this team's been super impressive, especially the last couple of weeks. And I think Baylor is, it's gonna be a tough test, but I'm glad that it's kind of got a bye week in there, if you will. There's no game in the middle of the week.
Can I have a Grant Scripes?
So Taman can.
Grant Scripes, but Jeff.
Well, I might
Jeff
touch on it. So I'm glad that there's a bye week, if you will, so Taman can rest. I'm not looking forward to when we play
Baylor's camera angle.
Altitude sickness.
Baylor's
their camera
angle. My God.
How do you not account for that?
How do you not? That's so bad. And like I
kind of get dizzy.
It's legit hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because like it almost feels like a fisheye camera just because of how like the weird panning of like the court moves when it pans back and forth because it's so high versus like when it's in an appropriate angle, you're panning across the court, but the court stays because it's so high. Like when you turn it, it almost looks like the rectangle goes from like 30 degrees one way to like 30 degrees the other way. So you're like shifting the whole field of vision. I would not be surprised if between ESPN or Fox or CBS or the Big 12 came to Baylor this offseason and said like, hey, your new stadium is great. You've got to get this camera angle fixed because it's an unwatchable TV product.
I don't understand why they built the new stadium. It's smaller than their old one, and they had fine attendance at the old one. I get they wanted to sell it out and have it be raucous, but like to go from like an 11,000 capacity stadium to like 7,000, what are you guys doing? Tiny ass stadium, shooting video from outer space.
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that.
One last thing I'll say, kind of a brag here, a proud husband moment.
Grant's not gripes.
Not gripes.
Grant's greats.
Grant's greats. I'm proud of my wife. She had launched her. She owns her own interior design business, and she's been open for about a year and a half. She really got busy right from the get go, and hadn't really had time to like build a website and get her Instagram followers and Instagram profile up and running. She finally launched her Instagram and website this last week. So really proud of her. So if any of our listeners, so if any of our listeners have any kind of home renovations, renovations or remodeling, or need some custom furniture or wallpapering, really anything that comes to doing anything to your home, with rates being as high as there are, a lot of people are kind of redoing their homes. Give my wife a shot.
What's that website?
Yep. Her website is westwoodhouseofdesign.com. And then same thing on Instagram. It's just Westwood House of Design. We used to live on Westwood. So that's our first houses. So
it's named after a street.
Yep. So she's got like a, like a newsletter that she writes, weekly. So it'll be fun she'll email, or monthly. She'll email that out, or, shoot an inquiry if you got any questions. So she's super talented, dude. Like to see her thoughts go from like her brain to like paper to like real life. My mind doesn't
Grant's
work
greats,
that
man.
way.
Grant's greats.
So, do you have anything? I guess we need to talk about the interview of the week.
Yeah, Goldfinch Athletics interview of the week. We started our DMPS stuff last week. We had, I think, 15 and 13. We had 28 kids come out last week, Wednesday, and then another 11 came on Thursday. So we had something like 39 kids that we got to serve at DMPS. It was great energy. They were super fun. We did have one moment though where, like, one thing with sprinting technique is you need to build ankle strength, because literally you're trying to push off and you have to reload your ankle. So you have to be on the balls of your feet. So your ankles need to be strong, and shoes tend to inhibit the capacity to that. So you want to sometimes train barefoot. We're working with junior high kids. We had them take their shoes off to do stuff. Smell is not great.
Probably like Jerome Tang, probably what I imagine it smelled like.
It's just
lingering fart.
Dang.
But the energy was awesome. The kids, I mean, it was so much fun to be there. So we're doing it again Wednesday. So if you didn't sign up last week, we still got room. Go ahead and show up for Wednesday. So again, DMPS stuff, that is at Central Campus, 3:45 for elementary, 4:45 on Wednesdays for junior high, and 4:45 on Thursdays for junior high. So with that being said, that's Goldfinch Athletics. We're headed to the Goldfinch Athletics interview of the week with Cyclone Jim Carrey, Jon Swanson.
All right, and now we welcome in an instant Cyclone legend. Some will call him the Kansas State Killer. Some refer to him as Jim Carrey. Jerome Tang calls him Daddy. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Swanson.
Welcome in. I mean, this is we've had Chris Felica on, and this is the best get we've ever gotten, for sure. This is the best get we've ever gotten.
Oh wow!
First question I want to ask.
I'm actually gonna dive in. I'm gonna dive in.
No,
first.
I mean, I'm gonna hit the hot hitting question. How much money did TJ pay you to get those signals to him?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, first of all, it took a Polaroid camera because we don't have Wi-Fi or cell phones or cell phone or stuff.
Airdrop it.
So I used a Polaroid camera.
Shake it really fast for a while.
Exactly.
And then you passed it to one of the managers who's got the mop in his hand.
Yeah. We had like
an
assembly. We had an assembly line going.
And he put it in the mop, and then he took it over while he was mopping.
We were shaking it too. Blowing it so it would show up fast.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
That is so great. That's what I was going to ask him. John, are you the one who was recording? And is that why you just gave it to Jerome Tang when he got teed up? Just cry, baby, you caught us. That's so great. So, John, you are. I mean, you've been all over social media. Since really, Kansas State. You came in the corner doing the cry, baby, and just absolutely dehumanized Jerome Tang, and I loved every second of it, because I have said vehemently on this podcast how much I hate Kansas State. So the fact that you're doing that,
and I would say,
A+.
In my view of Kansas State, and it was actually funny because Williams and Bloom on Sunday said sort of the same feeling that I had, which is like the football program, and I still kind of can separate the two. We're like, the football program, it sort of feels like, and I would lump like Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, and even a little bit Kansas into this bunch of being like, we're the forgotten crew, like the people that don't, the Big 12, the OG, like no one wants to. So like Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Kansas State, we're together. And like the football program, I still kind of feel that with, and Kleiman's from Iowa and whatever. But this, like, it was like a friendly, like sort of like, yeah, you're my brother, and like I can talk shit to you and you can talk shit to me, but no one else can talk shit to us. This does not feel the same. Like,
no, fuck 'em.
We went from friendly to accusations of cheating and throwing stuff and racist comments and not standing behind it at all. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm a pretty forgiving guy, but like this doesn't feel like it's hit the right nerve.
They're one of my least favorite teams in the Big 12 now because of this.
Yeah.
And I was texting Jeff and Aiden, I think during and after the game, I was like, Jerome Tang, like I kind of liked him, before this game. Then all this came out, and I'm like, no, this guy is by far my least liked, I don't even say hated coach in the Big 12. Like, allegations the allegations to come after TJ's integrity when,
Right.
come on, like TJ has been a great coach for years, and then their fans were saying, oh well, people were saying that the same thing they were doing for Oklahoma State, which Oklahoma State is, we've already talked about them, they're booty cheeks, they're terrible, and then
Perineum.
and then also to beat Houston, well the same guy in the white hat is in the same seat record. Oh, you mean so he's got season tickets? Just the stuff that their fans came up with, I'm just like, you guys are ridiculous.
It's conspiratorial. It's conspiratorial garbage.
Yeah, so I got to ask, like, during that moment, because not necessarily like the moment before kind of fussing, because your seats are what, like 3 or 4 rows, like 2-3 rows back from where the Kansas State bench is?
We're super blessed. So we're actually right in between the 2 benches, actually on the aisle, on the side of the aisle that's on the Iowa State bench. But the way, one of the ways I'm blessed is that I have an aisle seat, which gives me some freedom to step out into the aisle, and then there's some steps that get me a little closer, and I take advantage of that.
Yeah,
when it's appropriate and needed for Hilton Magic to do the thing. So and I was called for. It was needed, guys. We needed it.
It was absolutely needed.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was in TJ's box. He was in TJ's box.
That's the thing what's absolutely amazing to me is that, like, so let's play this moment, and I'll have a question after this, I promise. But like, let's play this hypothetical forward so let's say there was an instance where option A, there was something inappropriate being said. Option B was things were being thrown, or option C, things were being recorded. Let's say any one of those things were true. What's TJ gonna do? Like, TJ, the head coach, in that instance, doesn't have the license to be able to kick somebody out. The referees do. But the problem is that you've been just bitching to the referees for like 45 straight minutes about everything. So if you were to ask like the one group of people who actually would have the capacity, because like if the referees didn't like what you were doing, they could come up to you and say, hey, buddy, Jim Carrey, you got to get out of here. And you would have to, like, security would have to come get you and you'd leave. Yeah. What's TJ going to do? He doesn't have the authority to kick somebody in the stands out. The referees do. Like, I don't know what Tang was hoping to get out of that interaction, even if one of those things was actually true. I don't know what was potentially going to be.
So like two observations from that comment. One is related to the Kansas State fan base and obviously Jerome Tang. They obviously don't know that TJ would rather lose than win the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They don't know TJ.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. That's what that showed me. They don't know TJ. They don't know the integrity of the program and the quality of the people running the program and making sure that things that happen at Hilton are fun and in good spirit and fair and equitable. And that's one thing. The other thing, it wasn't even Jerome was on my bad list early in the game. It was maybe at the end of the first half. And I don't care if you're an assistant coach, an opposing player, an opposing fan. Don't do that. But if you're yelling while our team's shooting free throws in the sacred silence of Hilton Coliseum, that's like an immediate write-off for me. That makes me flip out. That's like a big pet peeve of mine. And there was some of that going on, and that's what really I think got me maybe a little more hyped up than I would on a normal day.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you too. Is that obviously the GIF of you crybaby has taken over, and I mean, are you like that every game, or was it just like the momentum of the game and just kind of the series of events that happened and just hit you?
This is what's funny about all this. I've been doing this for like 10 years, guys.
Yes.
It's just the right shot, man. Hey, you were building, the whole bamboo shoot thing. It takes 4 years to grow the roots, and then finally it shoots up in 4 days.
I'm dead serious. Ask my friends, ask the people around that sit around me. It's a great group of people, in between those benches there, that bring their own sort of secret elixir of Hilton magic to the table. But because it takes it all. It takes the students, it takes all the fans, it takes everybody. But yeah, I've been doing this for a decade. Like bar none, Mach 10. Love it. Love every.
That's great, and it's even better too.
Like three things. Family, and family work and clones.
That's A plus. It's the right priority.
Even better than, just it happened to be, Drum Tang gets a T, and then in the same week, and then you get on camera. In the same week, our very next opponent, Kansas, gets a T. They come back to you, and you're just enjoying your brat. You're
hanging out, just dancing in the aisle.
And then Rafter, he just
it was Iron Eagle. It was Iron Eagle. All right,
right on cue.
He was ready for it.
That was awesome.
Whoever prepped him did a wonderful job.
Well, I'm sure he probably saw your, the
Ian's a pro, man. Ian's one of the best in the biz.
Yeah. So we had kind of talked before, John. I want the fans to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
If that's okay. So tell us your story. We had talked about season tickets to men's football games, basketball games. Tell the fans a little bit more about who Jon Swanson is.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So just a normal guy. Name's Jon Swanson, live in Des Moines, blessed with an amazing family who puts up with my antics. I got 6-year-old now as of last week, twin boys that I'm appropriately grooming. You'll see them there. One of them actually it's kind of funny. He looks like a little like version of Harry from Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
I might have to get my creative juices out there flowing a little bit, but and get him a little king, like a father-son Harry and Lloyd king costume. I don't know.
That's awesome.
But been going to clone games since I could talk. Have some fun facts. My Aunt Sandra, this is a fun one. My wonderful Aunt Sandra Robinson. Worked for decades at Hilton behind the scenes. She should go down in Cyclone folklore. She actually came up with the idea to make the clone cone the colors cardinal and gold.
Wow!
So
oh my god,
that's a fun one.
What a pull! God,
isn't that cool?
Legend.
Isn't that cool? I know. Every time I have one, I think of her.
You got to ask her why did we just stick with vanilla then? Why don't we mix up the flavors?
Yeah, that's a good fair. It's a fair question.
I feel like in defense, hard to make chocolate yellow.
Yeah, you could go like strawberry lemon, be like strawberry lemonade. It might be kind of tasty.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Hey, there's room for product expansion. That's the good thing.
Anyways, continue on.
So I learned my tenacious and kind of in your face approach, and I guess passionate approach to cheering on my team from if I had to give one person credit, it'd be my deceased grandma, Margaret Swanson, who would let the refs just have it, at the age of 80.
Love that.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
What are you going to say to an old lady? She's 80 and she's chirping at the referee. What are you going to say?
Come
on, kill yourself. What are you going to say?
Well, we saw an old guy next to you, John, when you were giving it to Tang. The old guy next to you was, and people are like, who is this old guy in a sweater?
Oh my God. It's just, and I think that was just, I got to appreciate the scene too, because you are, just Jim Carrey in liar level facial expression. And then right next to you is a guy who looks like he's going to be like donating $10 into the Salvation Army bucket outside of Hy-Vee, just shooting Tang the biggest technical tee. And that needed to be a thumbs down is what that needed to be. The thumbs down in traffic. But just the scene there of like sweet white-haired guy teeing him up, and then Ace Ventura with the down face. It's art. It's art is what it was.
Yeah. So John, I had seen too that you had tweeted out that you had to buy another shirt this last game. Is that true?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Is that embarrassing? Yeah, I
Depends
did.
on how it got messy.
What happened there?
Depends on how it got messy. Did you pee on it? That would be different.
Yeah, that's true. It was just perspiration, folks. Yeah, I needed a sweat rag for my hair. So the problem with the long hair is, it perspires and then it drips and then it, next thing you know, you're jumping around and it's spraying, and so you got to control it.
When you're getting after it, just eating hot dogs in the aisle, you got a sweat rag.
Yeah, and dancing to tease. Yeah, you gotta take care of yourself, right? So I went across, picked up another T-shirt, and problem solved. People were asking me, "Did you switch? Did you bring like 2 outfits to games?" I'm like, "No, that I don't."
This is a necessity purchase.
Exactly. So fair question. The answer is yes.
That's awesome.
So for the Kansas State game, we're just going to flip back game 1 to game 2. Being a person that was so close, because I think the person that was the closest to the instance of whatever, the only thing we know happened is getting managers with a mop getting jawed at. and Williams and some of the, like, I think Mike Swain was over there too, but like, or not Mike Swain, that would have been Kansas. But anyway, what could you, when that was happening, could you guys hear that of like letting the managers know? Like, I don't know if you could sense the simmer from Kansas State's bench or just saw Tang go over
I
to
think
TJ.
I think I saw the assistant coach go over. I wasn't aware of what was being exchanged. All I know is that there was just a lot of liberties being taken and from Jerome Tang, and marching his way down across past the scorers table into TJ's space. And again, like one of you just mentioned, like that, you go to the ref for something like that. You don't accost the other coach. It was just all weird. It was just weird.
Well, I had seen Tang last year. I had seen an article where someone was trying to put him on a high horse that, the Kansas State fans were chanting a cuss word at the refs or the opposing team at some point, and Tang, I got on the loudspeaker and was like, "Hey, like, don't swear." So I think he was hoping TJ would do that, but TJ didn't have time for that. Get your ass out of my box, coach. Enjoy this ass when we're delivering to you. So I don't know. It just crossed the line.
And where has Tang been since?
Yeah.
There was technical down at Houston because he was complaining as an official. And then as far as the
I mean his response to the, obviously
they said they're not going to respond. He had said that he talked to TJ, sensed the matter, and they're fine with where they're at. But it's like, how can you? And he is digging his heels in that I haven't said anything, that everything that has come out has come from reporters, so it's all hearsay. And I don't know. It's bullshit to me that he was wanting to keep it between the coaches if that is what he had said, and for TJ to be like, yeah, I'll keep this shot of my integrity between us. Okay.
When it was his events that caused an action that resulted in his fan base making false accusations that damaged unfairly the integrity of our program, they owe the public a response. And they owe the public they owe us an apology. They just do.
Yeah. So
we haven't gotten it, and we're not going to, and that's okay. We need to accept that.
I would say this though. So this is a situation that I think from my perspective, as far as like a PR standpoint, I'm going to use a weird example. Jerome Tang farted at a party. So in this,
we're going there.
In this situation,
we needed to.
So if someone else reacts and responds to that by saying, "Ha, that's funny," or "Oh man, Jerome, what are you doing, buddy?" then they're allowed to laugh it off. In the situation where TJ said, "This is an inexplicable action," and then everybody knows in this example that the fart came from Jerome Tang, the more that smell lingers in the air, the worse it looks on Jerome Tang.
That's
the apology of saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, excuse me," whatever, put your finger on your nose, whatever that is, the more that this lingers without any substantive evidence that it actually was something going on, whether it's, again, illicit things being said or whatever, stealing, sign stealing, whatever, the more that this goes without proof, without the apology, TJ's already made it clear this never happened. So the longer this goes without it being addressed, the worse and worse it looks on Tang and Kansas State and not Iowa State. That's someone saying, again, it's the farting in public. Like, I know that you did it. You know that you did, and the whole world knows that you did it. Just get over it and apologize, say excuse me, and move on. And so like that, it's more of on a philosophical level. There's a sentence of something like I think it's a Hindu proverb, which is, a pure soul is like a mirror and it reflects back to you. So if you think about like the sweetest old lady, and if you say like, "Piss off, grandma," everyone knows around you that you look way worse because that person reflects your character back to you. And so like in an instance where Iowa State clearly did nothing wrong. Now, granted, we're a little biased, but Iowa State clearly did nothing wrong as far as sign stealing.
Except beat that ass.
But the more it comes back, again, just the more this situation sits, like if they don't have an apology, that's fine. That's terrible PR for Kansas State. That's nothing at this point. Iowa State's hands are clear. So like Kansas State at this point, for their own sake, needs to issue an apology because again, they farted in a room. We all know you did it. You know you did it. The Texas Tech knows you did it. Texas knows you did it. And you better believe that every venue that Jerome Tang and Kansas State goes into from now on forward, especially your Techs, especially your Kansases, you're going to see crybaby faces. You're going to see binoculars. You're going to see Polaroid cameras. You're going to see everything to just piss him off until he apologizes and owns it. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So hell, don't apologize. Fine. Do it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. I love all your comments. I also love one of the top 10 fart analogies I think that I've ever heard. Combined with it, I think I heard some Hindu prophecy in there as well. That was a solid,
Aiden, I feel like that's
solid lineup, dude.
I feel like that's pretty Jeff.
You intertwined those
Yeah,
messages
that's
very,
perfect.
very well.
To
It
a
was well
T.
done.
That's the first time I've ever heard a philosophical Hindu phrase intertwined with a fart reference.
Thank
but
you.
Jerome Tang, lingering fart, is now his name. So now when you think of Jerome Tang, you cannot say just Jerome Tang. It's Jerome Tang, lingering farter.
So guys, if
So,
it's okay,
those are
let me talk about my dad a little bit. My dad,
Absolutely.
my dad, man, God bless my dad. My dad, again, like I think I told you guys this from before the podcast, but he's had those seats. Both my parents went to Iowa State. I know they got engaged under the clock tower and all that. My mom is originally from New Jersey, came to Iowa State in the late 1960s, all the way from New Jersey. And they met there, or they met at Iowa State. So grew up, going to all the games. I remember as a 7 to 8 year old, my bedroom was right above our basement. And I always knew if we won or lost because I'd heard a bunch of mummered curse words and like basketballs being thrown against the wall and like, things breaking if we lost. And then I'd hear like, ecstatic joy if we won. So this intensity and this passion is kind of like, it's innate in me. It's kind of it's part of me. It's in my blood. Between that and my grandma, my dad's side just comes from a long line of Iowa farmers. We don't have pro teams here, so this is what you get,
Yep.
right?
Never change either.
Never change. Grew up, obviously adoring, looking up to Fred Hoiberg, Julius Mikulik, Lauren Meyer, Kenny Pratt, Dedrick Willoughby, Kentrell Horton, Marcus Pfizer, the list goes on, Jamal Tinsley, Nick Nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Nurse, sorry.
Nick Nurse was an old coach, though.
Yep.
That's
Raptors
right.
legend now.
That's right. And then, moved, so lived through all those eras. Those 2000, 2001 teams, barring the 2001 upset against Hampton, those were fun teams to watch. Then Eustace had his exit. I went to college. It was Lehigh University out in Pennsylvania. I wanted to get out of the state. And we didn't have like the streaming services that we have then. So it was like a blackout period for me for Iowa State basketball, which was really sad. I actually noticed it in my life. It impacted my life. It impacted the quality of my life. It's like us when we have a bad, that 2021, 2022 season. I think that's right. Yeah. The 2021, that 2021 season, when you don't have a 6-month period of exciting Iowa State basketball, doesn't it just leave this like big gaping hole in your guys' lives?
Mm-hmm.
It puts me into this winter depression that now, that I understand. So anyway, coming back from college from out east and landing in the Hoiberg era was
That's
like
fun.
Oh, it was so fun because he was my hero growing up. He was all our heroes growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he recruited. He pioneered the transfer game. He started the transfer game.
Yep.
Was really successful with it. I remember him. If I'm going to beat Kansas, I can't be recruiting freshmen, and he was so right. And then the prom era was tough. Made it through it. I'm a huge Otzelberger fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just his principled approach, his intensity, his dedication, how much he cares for these players. Huge Otzelberger fan. I'm not telling anybody on here anything that you all don't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And that's the thing that I really appreciate with TJ is that, like, everything that you go, why don't you just do that? They do. There's no stone that's unturned of being like, we're doing this because damn it, we have, or damn it, we're going to. It's like,
He tries it.
If you
Yeah,
can't,
he tries things.
if you don't have shooters, play better defense. Okay,
Right.
well, let's do that. If you don't have a big, then maybe you just have lockdown perimeter defenders. Okay, well, now you got a big. Let's funnel everything to, like, it just makes strategic sense all
Yep.
the time.
Yep.
And I don't know. That's the cool part to me is that you sort of go, there's not a lot of gripes that you can have of being like, we should try this. And we already did.
Yep.
The thing I love about TJ, I can really appreciate about him too, is that something that Coach Campbell says all the time, or players formations plays. TJ has really customized each season to his players' strengths.
Yeah.
Defense has always been the backbone, but he's not gonna like if we're not a really strong 3-point shooting team, he's not gonna draw up plays so that Iowa State's shooting a bunch of threes. If we have a dominant guy down low, I thought their game plan versus Kansas was beautiful in that, hey, if Dickinson is going to cover Trey King, Dickinson's a little slower to get out there. And Trey King is, he hasn't really shot the three very much
Nope.
since he's been at Iowa State, but I think he's a good enough 3-point shooter. He has such a slow release, though. If
Yeah.
you have a smaller, quicker guy on you, he may not be able to get him off. And with Dickinson just kind of being an ogre out there, getting out there, kind of has a little more time to get a shot up. So made him pay. I thought it was an awesome, perfectly executed game plan by Iowa State.
And I have a lot of respect for Bill Self. I have a
Yeah.
lot of respect for a lot of the Big 12 coaches. I'm not like I like to give people the
except one.
benefit of the doubt.
Except one.
Maybe two.
Except one. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And hopefully, I'm sure Jerome's a good guy. I think he had a bad day and made a misjudgment. Let's try to give him the benefit of the doubt, guys. It's hard.
I'm not going to. F him.
All right. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, you're right.
The farts,
maybe
the
he's just
farts
having
in the air. The farts in the air.
He's just having. Yeah.
Calls on you, man.
Yeah.
Do you say excuse me, or do you just let it sit? Like we all smell it. Everybody smells it.
It just sucks because he's had multiple occurrences of just bitching after losses this year, and that fart's just lingering, man.
Just lingering, man. The more it lingers.
I'm just thinking about my words right now, combined or taken in context of how I'll behave when he's at Hilton next. And there's probably going to be a juxtaposition. Is what I'm going to say. I should probably shut my mouth.
Yeah, well, probably good. I don't know. Is there anything else? I guess there's no like follow-up act that you can't like upstage. You can't plan passion.
Yeah, I don't know where this goes now.
Yeah, I don't think
you
can't plan
that's
passion.
what I'm saying. Just be yourself and just let it come to you. It's sometimes when I dance, I enjoy dancing like at weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know like what my next dance move's gonna be.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
being Jon Swanson, just let it rip.
I would love to be able to somehow roll this into benefiting the We Will Collective in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a player that wants to, I don't know, release a shirt with some Jim Carrey. We gotta be careful with copyright stuff, but
yeah, Jim Carrey probably has. Some
he might not like that. Or he might
Marks.
love it, and maybe we need to get him to a halftime show. To do a halftime show or something. But we need the Jim Carrey from 30 years ago. That was the Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber Jim Carrey is who we really want.
His hair is kind of longer right now, like yours though.
It is.
But I mean, I feel like he's just got like 30 years on you though. Like
Yeah,
the similarity's not quite the same at this point.
It's true. He's gone really zen now.
Chill, bro.
Yeah, he's gone really zen and chill, and I'm proud of him for that. But boy, he made a lot of people laugh. But where does this go? I have no idea. I've never I can't pick up my phone. Like I just have to like turn it off. I don't know how to handle all this, guys. I'm 40. I'm not 25. So I'm just taking it one
play at a time.
One play at a time.
I was going to ask you if you're, how like you're, obviously this isn't like life changing. Maybe it is. I don't know, but how your life has changed since
Iron Eagle calls you on national television.
I got stopped at the airport today and told I was a legend.
Yes.
And I'm like,
naturally.
I'm just John. But and then at Hilton the other day, there were a lot of selfies that I took with people that I'm happy to do, and it's fun. So how has my life changed? It would probably be social media, Instagram, Facebook, X. Not big on all those platforms, but there's been a lot of inbounds, text messages, videos, a lot of people from around the country, just because it was broadcasted on CBS. I got people reaching out to me from California, Washington, Indianapolis, When my father-in-law, here's when I knew it went viral. When I learned my father-in-law knew what the word viral meant. A, okay. Two was he said, he's like, you've gone viral. And that's when I knew it was official.
Oh shit, this is real.
Yeah. I think the Barstool Sports thing took it to another level. And it was the perfect storm. Yeah. Again, like been doing this for 10 years. Don't plan to stop.
I was gonna say maybe you could do some kind of like cameo thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call. If you guys have any ideas on how to make this benefit Iowa State's program so we can keep these top athletes that continue to bring us joy that we have every night at that arena, I'm all ears. Brent Bloom, call me, bro. Let's be creative. Let's do something. Come on.
We've got his number.
I feel like I mean, off the top of my head, a donation to the We Will Collective with the caption "Somebody Stop Me" feels really appropriate right now at any dollar amount. I feel like that's just at least one thing right now. That if you're listening to this, any dollar amount to We Will with the caption "Somebody Stop Me,"
or a public $1 million gift with like the slogan. So you're telling me there's a chance or something like that. I don't know.
Awesome.
Something like that. We got to be creative. Yes, you've had that this whole time. We can have fun with it.
That's
right.
great.
Well, I mean, this is you're currently on a work trip, so we need to take more of your work trip out in sunny Florida while let's do this 45 here. So we're living life.
This is important work we're doing here, boys. All right. This is important work. All right. I appreciate the opportunity. It's good. It's really nice to meet you too. And thanks for having me on. It's an honor.
For sure, man. And
pleasure, man.
You're a hot commodity. I know a lot of they want to get you on a few different podcasts on the Cyclone Fanatic podcast network, but we were able to get to you first. So I appreciate you jumping on and joining with us.
Happy to do whatever as long as it advances the interests of our Cyclone Nation.
For sure. We appreciate it. Thanks, John.
All right, gents. Take care.
So that was our Goldfinch Athletic interview of the week.
Friggin' legend, man. I mean, I don't want to say legend necessarily, but what a fun, that is exactly what, like, when you say, come to Iowa State for the fans, it's just, there's in Hilton, there's 14,000 of that dude. And at Jack Trice, there's 60,000 of that dude. It's just the best. Just
Pure, like I mentioned in the interview, like when you're just full of that much enthusiasm and fandom, you don't know what you're gonna do. You're gonna dance in the aisle eating a brat. You're gonna do Crybaby. It's just great. And I think you can say legend because he mentioned his grandparents, and he had told us off camera that his grandpa that his family has had tickets since Hilton opened.
That was 76
in the same spot, even
in the same spot. Yeah, so he's got fantastic seats at like the mid court, 3 rows up, right behind the benches. Yeah,
because his parents have had it. I mean, since whatever. And his aunt came up with a clown cone.
Yeah,
the colors for the clown cone. What?
And 8 tickets? That's crazy to have 8 tickets in that spot.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so that was awesome. Thanks again to for John for hopping on. He's, like I said, he was a hot commodity this week, and I'm glad that we got him on. It sounds like other places, even outside of Cyclone Fanatic, has tried to get him on. So
Williams, no, it's Bloom. It's Bloom looking at you, Brent. Hey, looking at you.
I appreciate Dylan Kuhn though. People had reached out to see if they could get him on, and let him cook, and Dylan's like, well, I think Jeff and Grant got him. So thanks for that, Dylan. But that's all I've got, Jeff. I'm not sure if you got anything else.
I don't know. The only thing is if you appreciate it and you want to kind of help Jim Carrey out, we will. If you donate, I don't know.
Yeah, if you do donate, maybe put in the tagline, Jim Carrey or Jon Swanson, whatever. So yeah. Fun episode, long episode, but we'll wrap it up here. So thank you to all of our loyal listeners who are still listening. And remember, adopt, don't shop.